Okay, we're continuing with quotes, Holy Grail Wisdom Quotes by Mae Rogers, alphabetical order. We're doing the last name West. The first one is Mary Jessamyn West. She was an American writer, a Quaker. She said, knowledge of what you love somehow comes to you. And there's truth in that. If you just like something, you're always on the lookout for something good. Like, I love art. So when I see a good painting, I look it up, I read about it. If it comes on my YouTube video, I'll watch the video. And I just keep learning more about art because I like it. I love it. Okay. That's also why I'm confident about my art books. They're better than what all the professors write because they just do it because they have to. I do it because I love it. Makes a difference. You look for the good stuff when you love it versus when it's your profession, you just try to be comprehensive. Okay, next thing. You make what seems like a simple choice. You choose a man or you choose a job or a neighborhood, and what you have chosen is not a man or a job or a neighborhood, but a life. A religious awakening that does not awaken the sleeper to love has roused him in vain. Yeah, and that's what I think also is like the weakness of Protestantism. What I thought was good about Protestantism is it motivated people to read the Bible. It's more literary than Catholic. A lot of Catholics are stupid, don't even read anything. But Protestantism, in the end, it's all about, do as I say or you'll burn in hell, and that gets old. And then they allow the secular types to take it over. Like Henry VIII started the Anglican Church. What a joke. He's a mass murdering, psychopath. Okay, there's the Anglican religion started by that guy. And he turned it into secular right from the beginning, destroying all the Catholic monasteries in England. Okay, Jessamyn West. Teaching is the royal road to learning. Yeah, if you want to get good at something, teach it. Write a book about it. Okay, Jessamyn West. Talent is helpful in writing, but guts are absolutely necessary. Yeah, if you don't got guts to tell the truth, anything that's valuable is going to be obscure quite often or controversial. So you need guts to tell the truth. Writing is a solitary occupation. The writer must be alone, uninterrupted, and slightly savage if he or she is to sustain and complete a book. Yeah, the biggest thing I can say about writing, and I've written a lot of books, like over 30 of them, is that you have to simplify your life because you got to free up that time somehow. You're probably not making much money from the books, Most of the people that are making money from the books, they suck, okay? They're not really good writers. So if you want to do the book, you're probably doing it for not much money, and you have some other job, so you've got to free up that time. There's a bunch of tricks you can do. I've given other lectures on that, but it means you have to be a minimalist in life. You can't be well-rounded and be a writer. Okay, Mae West. Okay, here's Mae West, the great actress, pretty lady in the mid-1900s and or early 1900s. And she would sometimes be in films with WC Fields, a fat comedian guy. He said, Mae West was a plumber's idea of Cleopatra. And Mae West would say things, why don't you come up and see me sometime? I used to be Snow White, but I drifted. Is that a you-know-what in your pocket, or are you just glad to see me? I speak 2 languages, body and English. So people used to imitate these all the time. When I was growing up, I would hear guys, and women to less extent, but guys saying this stuff all the time. I never loved another person the way I loved myself. Men are like on the linoleum floors. Lay them right and you can walk all over them for years. Women are like roads, and the more curves they have, the more dangerous they are. Okay, she says, she's the kind of girl who climbed the ladder of success wrong by wrong. March isn't the only thing that's in like a lion and out like a lamb. Okay, the next one is Alan Wheelis, an American psychoanalysis. And by the way, I think psychoanalysis, most of them are scumbags. But I just want to give you this 2 quotes by him. We create ourselves. The sequence is suffering, insight, will, action, and change. Yeah, and that's a little bit like a summary of the Dabrowski principle. So the Dabrowski principle is this idea, he's a Polish psychiatrist, that you have a setback or a failure in your life and you're very sad and you're disappointed and you're frustrated, and you sort of take that frustration and energy and you put it into achieving something else. And it's very much like the Alfred Adler inferiority principle. You screw up something in your life. For me, it was being an athlete, and I was real sad about that. And I took my frustration and energy. I kept coming back to really getting re-injured. And you take that frustration and energy and you put it into something else, which for me was becoming a great student. So that's what you want to do, is you want to take that oomph and put it into something good. Okay, I usually don't like psychoanalysis because usually they don't believe in God. And psychoanalysis is just BS, trying to blame everything on your childhood. It just takes you backwards rather than forward. It's like, I think it was Karl Kraus who said psychoanalysis is the disease that pretends to be the cure. Okay, Alan Wheelis continues. Nothing guarantees our freedom. Deny it often enough, and one day it will be gone, and you will not know how or when. Okay, well, that's a good one. Most people are so clueless, they don't even know when they're not free, has been what I've seen. Okay, we're going to do a couple quick quotes by Edwin Percy Whipple. He was an American literary critic. He said, "Talent is a cistern, genius is a fountain. Talent deals with the actual realized truths. Genius deals with the possible and creates new combinations. It acts from insight into principles." I like the Oliver Wendell Holmes quote about genius. He said, "Talent is docile. It accepts the harness and is happy to take it, versus genius is rebellious. It's not easy to domesticate." And what that means is talent is somebody who's smart and talented and able to get things done. So they go, where's the money? What's going to give me money? I'll do what gives me money. Whereas a genius is more like, you know what? I think there's a better way to do this. I want to make it better. And then big money says, well, we don't need it better. We're making money off it all as is. And he's like, well, I know I can make it better. And they're like, we don't need it to be better. So genius is always getting into trouble because it's trying to improve things. But big money don't want things improved. It's making money off things just the way they are. And prestige doesn't want things improved. Because I was told this too. Like, for example, I had all these ideas that rewrote the textbooks of internal medicine. And my internal medicine doctor buddies told me they're never going to allow you to speak in an internal medicine conference because you embarrass them. Once you speak, it's so obvious that you're correct and your stuff is so far ahead of what they're doing, they're just going to be embarrassed about it. So they're not going to ever want you to speak. And that's what it's actually like. That's why geniuses are always in trouble, because they're nonconformist and they're trying to improve things. But there's an established order of prestige. You know, all these full professors who made a living teaching the old thing that's wrong, they don't want some young guy coming along saying, no, here's the truth. No way. Okay, genius is not a single power, but a combination of great powers. So what I like about that quote is the fact that a lot of times the way you figure out something new is because you can combine multiple fields, whereas most people are only trained in one field, so they never could ever combine things because they don't know the other fields. So you have to know multiple fields in order to make an advance, and one of them is very often the case. The great characteristic of men of genius is a sublime self-confidence springing from identification with his object, which lifts him altogether above. Yeah, and I'll also tell you what I've seen about genius is that, you know, I'm an academic genius, and you pay a very high price. I got a lot of doctor buddies that do pretty much the same thing as I do in clinical medicine, and I can tell you, pretty much all of them are more wealthy than I am. You say, well, why are they more wealthy? If I'm so smart, why am I not more wealthy? And the reason is I made a lot of choices where I went for the learning, for the experience, rather than for the money. And my old ex-wife used to get mad at me. Why don't you take this job? You can make so much money. Why don't you moonlight over here? You can make so much money. I'm like, my goal, and by the way, I make plenty of money. I mean, if I won't even say the amount because you'd be jealous and offended. But I'm in probably the lowest third of my profession because I wanted to do things in a way that I could continue to develop intellectually, because I know I can go all the way to being the best in the world in a lot of things, and I want that. But the price I have to pay is I make a lot less money. I could double my income if I wanted to go for the money, but I don't, because I feel good. You know, even though saying you're the best and being the best in something in the world doesn't get you 10 cents unless you're making money for a corporation, it brings a happiness and a satisfaction, and I'm glad for that. But that's kind of how it comes down to. So you have to pay a price, and you pay a high price. Because I know, like I said, I know guys that are real smart. They could give a rat's ass about ever trying to figure out or discover anything or even read anything. They don't have to. They just want to make their money, enjoy their life, and that's very reasonable. Okay, last quote from Edwin Percy, last quote for today. Which gives enterprise to a character of insanity to the common eye? Yeah, my wife thought I was insane. Why wouldn't you go for this big money that you can do if you just work on the weekends? I'm like, I'm already tired from working 5 days a week. I don't want to work on the weekend too. Okay, and which communicates an almost superhuman audacity to its will. All right, that's quote for today. Hope you found it helpful.